Just to give you a small story, that I came as a refugee from 1979. And even though I am a physician, a pediatrician, but for us, as a culture, we don't, that we don't even have a name for depression. But sadness for us means something kind of quite natural. And for you, when it is something that's quite natural, you don't seek for help. So that's why the people with Disability Foundation, the role that you are doing is very important.
That's obvious. What's not obvious is that there's sometimes a fine line between what is a matter of culture and what is a matter of something else about a person. As an example, a colleague of mine told me about a little boy that she represented. He was an African-American kid from Bayview Hunters Point in San Francisco, and he kept being late to his therapy appointments because there was shooting going on in his neighborhood. And he would tell this to his therapist, who was from the suburbs and didn't really understand this, and the therapist thought he was lying. And that had a big effect on the way the therapy went, which was nowhere. Providers sometimes focus on the costs of complying with linguistic and culturally competent requirements, and I think it's also important that we focus on the costs of non-compliance, because from a provider's perspective it may sound like a cost in time or energy or money to provide an interpreter for someone, but if you look at the cost of not providing that interpreter, the economic cost as well as the costs in terms of the outcome that is achieved can be substantially higher.
A mother was grieving over her child who was beaten to death by a Laotian gang in Berkeley. And she was very upset, and they wanted to hospitalize her and give her a 5150 because she was not eating, she was not sleeping, she was wailing, she was mourning in the most painful way that I, one of the many situations in my career. And I remember trying in my own way, thinking that I could treat her, but with medication that I thought would help her to sleep, antidepressants. Turned out she didn't take the antidepressants. She said, "Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to our house. I apologize for inconveniencing you." When I did consultation finally with someone of her culture, okay, she was a Cambodian culture. We got a Buddhist monk to come out who actually spoke her language. And we went to where her son was beaten to death by this other group, and we did a ritual on the Berkeley Marina. We actually did a ritual, because we actually did a ritual to bring back the spirit, because her fear was that her son's ghost, because her son's ghost was beaten, because he was beaten to death and he was no longer physically there, that his ghost would forever be wandering the Berkeley Marina.